Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're having a great day today, and I hope you're ready for this. It's a beautiful day, and we've got a lot of fun stuff to read today, and I'm super excited. Let's get straight into today's episode. Am I the a-hole for making my mother-in-law uncomfortable and embarrassed during dinner? We had Thanksgiving today instead of tomorrow due to clashing schedules, and this was about 5 days ago. My husband and I agreed that he wasn't going to invite his mum due to conflicts in the past involving food, where she takes food before everybody. We feed the kids first in this household, and then takes off with Tupperware of our food without even saying goodbye. And there have been multiple times that there wasn't much food left to go around after this. She has food insecurities and she hoards food. It's a real problem, but it's not my problem, and it shouldn't be made to be mine either. So I take issue, obviously, because usually it's me going hungry because I'm always the last to eat here. A family of 6 and 4 kids, I serve my kids and then my husband and then myself. Now, my husband did not invite his mother, but she caught wind somehow and she showed up. Neither me or my husband said anything because we didn't want to cause issues, so no, we did not kick her out. When dinner was done, I called the kids over by saying, "Kids, food." Mother-in-law immediately jumps up from the couch to get to the front of the line and starts attempting to dig in. I said, "I'm sorry, but are you a child? No, go sit down and wait your turn." Her face goes bright red and she goes back to the couch and crosses her arms, mumbling under her breath. When I called the adult, she stayed planted on the couch and said something like, "Are you sure there's even enough for me?" in a childish tone. I didn't react. I chose to ignore. She comes up a while later and grabs food and woofs it down her throat and then goes to our cupboard for Tupperware. I ask her what she thinks she's doing and she said, "Well, Tom's at home." I figured that I'd grab him a plate. I told her that her boyfriend that none of us have met is not our problem and that she's not taking our leftovers to feed him. She asked if she could take a plate for herself, so I said sure. And I exchanged the Tupperware that she grabbed, one of our oversized ones, and I exchanged it for a normal size container that would hold roughly 2 cans of soup. She asked me if I was serious, and I said dead serious, and walked off. She throws the Tupperware in my sink and walks out without saying anything. However, she did just call my husband and give him an earful about feeling unwelcome during the holidays, and stated that I was acting both immature and also high and mighty, and embarrassed her in front of everybody. My entire family was there, so roughly 12 adults and 10 kids, and has demanded that I apologize. She was on speaker, so I calmly said that I would not apologize for making her follow the same rules as everybody else, and perhaps her own entitlement to other people's food is the real issue here. That we didn't spend $1,000 for her to take $200 off at home with her, and that she needs to take a step back and assess her behavior. She hung up. But now my husband's radio silent and says that he doesn't want to talk about it and is giving me the cold shoulder. Oh, okay. The top comment says, "Oh, your husband's radio silent now, is he? Huh, I wonder how she caught wind of the early Thanksgiving that she wasn't invited to. Not the a-hole." And OP responded, "Well, in his defense, he acted completely shocked when she walked into our home and said, 'Mum, what are you doing here?' And she said, 'I was in the neighborhood and I saw all the cars. Didn't want to miss out on anything.' I truly don't think he invited her, but it wouldn't surprise me if she was scouting out our home." The second top comment says, "Not the a-hole, but your husband is." The comment under that one says, "Absolutely not the a-hole. He should have handled her years ago. Good for you for finally checking her entitlement. Make it clear to him that either he backs you up or he can sort his own meals." And the comment below that says, "OP, as an oldie wed, I would advise that you give your husband some time to digest and cool down over the whole thing. Don't prod to get a reaction. But when you do speak, stay firm and calm and adult, like you did with your mother-in-law. Just tell your husband, 'Honey, you've had years to deal with this. I've been patient and I've waited and I've given you ample opportunities to tell your mama no. If you don't like how I say it, then you need to say it. But I won't be disrespected in my own house,' or some such thing. The point is your husband has had his chance to speak up for you and he hasn't. So now you've had to. If he sulks about it, too damn bad. And I'm cheering you on, honey, for standing up to your mother-in-law. Good for you. 1,000,000% not the a-hole. Yeah, 100%. OP's husband didn't deal with this, so now OP's doing it. Very much not the a-hole in the comments. And story number 2, someone at work stole my chair, so I had them arrested. Wow, interesting. I got a new job in sales working for a company that sells access control systems, CCTV systems, etc. The chair in my cubicle was uncomfortable AF. So day 3, I brought in my own Herman Miller regular Aeron chair. On day 4, it was missing. I looked around and another sales rep was sitting in it. I asked for it back, but he basically told me to F off. No. I went and spoke to the owner of the company and he told me that the chairs aren't reserved, so they're first come, first serve. No, I explained that I own the chair and it cost me $1,800. Yeah. He told me that I need to come in earlier if I want that chair. Yeah, that's not how that works if it's your chair. You have to come in earlier to get your own chair? Your own chair that cost you a fortune? No. The next day, the same guy was sitting in it when I got to the office. I told him to give it back or I was going to call the cops. He refused, and so I called the cops. It was quite the scene, but in the end, he admitted that he took my $1,800 chair. I was prepared. I had the receipt which showed the serial number. Yes, Aeron chairs have serial numbers. They asked me if I wanted to press charges. My new boss said that I would be terminated if I had him arrested. So I said, absolutely, I want to press charges. My new boss fired me on the spot, so I carried my chair out as I was leaving. And yeah, the cops arrested the dude who took my chair. He admitted to it. The dude who took my chair has been in the industry for about 15 years, but he's going to lose his security license, which means he won't be able to work in the industry. He's going to lose his job. I don't give a shit. He shouldn't have stolen my chair. Am I the a-hole for making this dude lose his job? Oh my god, I can't believe the attitude of the boss. Oh, you've got to come in earlier if you want to use your own chair that you bought and brought in. Nah, dude. The top comment says sometimes being an a-hole is the correct response. And also, your boss is now out 2 workers. This comment says not the a-hole. The fact is the guy shouldn't have been effectively stealing your $1,800 chair. And as others said, sue your company for retaliatory firing. If he lost his ability to work in the industry, that's 100% because of his actions. Yeah, the consensus in the comments is definitely not the a-hole. And also a lot of people thinking that this didn't happen. But yeah, that's ridiculous if that did happen. Okay, story number 3. Am I the a-hole for not taking down pictures of my family in my own home to make my son's new wife feel more comfortable? I late 50s am a picture person. I have hundreds up in my home. It started when I was caring for my aunt with Alzheimer's and it's just gone from there. I have 3 kids and 4 grandkids, and as you can imagine, I love having photos of them up in my home. My middle son Gavin, 27, is no longer with my 4-year-old grandson Tommy's mum Helena. They're still friendly and they co-parent well, and I see her often because I help with Tommy. Last year he married Cherie, also 27, after only being together a few months. But she seems sweet and like she makes him happy. We had no issues until this summer, when my son asked me to take down any indoor pictures that Helena was in to make Cherie more comfortable. I don't have any of her alone, just a few of the entire family and a few when Tommy was younger that my son is also in. I said, no, it's my home and I like having them up. I certainly have added many with Cherie in them, but it's silly to take some down just because Helena and Gavin are no longer together. It's still a part of our family history. He asked me again a few weeks ago and I gave him the same answer. And I told him that I'd be happy to explain to Cherie, but he dropped it. He called me yesterday and told me that it was the last time that he was going to ask. The pictures needed to come down or Cherie wouldn't come to our home anymore. I told him that was ridiculous, and he said that it was important to him because they made Cherie jealous and it was affecting the way that she was treating Tommy. Wow, that's not good. I'm appalled. Apparently Tommy mentioned a picture in my house and Cherie threw a fit, and Gavin says that it's making his life difficult. He brought it up around my daughter, the oldest, who told her younger sister as well, and they both agree that Cherie is being ridiculous. I told him that if your wife is treating Tommy poorly because of some pictures in my home, then you need to think if this is the right person. Yeah. Obviously he disagrees but has been hounding me leading up to Thanksgiving. My husband is also on the side of we do not negotiate with terrorists. Yeah, 100%. But has also pointed out that they're married and we should pick our battles. I'm wondering if I'm missing the forest for the trees. Just a quick edit, if there was abuse, I would have already called CPS. Cherie has decided when Tommy is there to make herself sparse and not to be involved with him anymore. I have told Gavin that that's not acceptable, and he says he's working on it, but there's nothing to report. And also, Helena knows all of this. Edit, thank you, I won't be removing anything, and if Cherie wants to continue this toddler-like tantrum, she's welcome to stay home alone on Thanksgiving. Yeah. If she wants to grow up and realise that she's married a man with a child, then she can come. But I'll be having a serious talk with my son. My husband and I are well off and we readily help our kids financially. He's welcome to cut me off over this, but I doubt that'll happen, as he'll react likewise. Also, I counted today when I was cleaning. I saw maximum 5 pictures with Helena in them. The fact that this woman's throwing a fit about 5 out of hundreds of pictures is crazy to me. Maybe I'll put up more. Yeah, do it, OP. The top comment says, my husband is also on the side of we do not negotiate with terrorists. MVP. The second top comment says, her insecurities are not your concern. And frankly, if your son's weak enough to stay with a woman that treats his child poorly because there's a photo of his mother in someone else's house, then your son has a bigger problem than taking down a picture's gonna fix. I would take the picture down and then in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner, mention that you took it down because you were unaware of her insecurities and that you were saddened to find out that she was taking her insecurities out on your grandson. So you hope that she feels better with the picture being removed. But I'm petty like that. Maybe you should tell your son to get a spine instead. And the one below that says, poor Tommy. Just wait until a new baby comes along. And the response says, hopefully Cherie is kicked to the curb before that happens. And the comment below that says, not the a-hole, this is a Cherie problem, not a you problem. And if she's taking it out on Tommy, it's a major Gavin problem that he needs to handle immediately. Yeah, how sad. But yeah, definitely not the a-hole to you, OP. Story number 4. Am I the a-hole for laughing about a pretend allergy? Parents gave up wanting responsibilities for Thanksgiving meal about 5 years ago. My house is big enough to host and I enjoy cooking, so for the past 3 years, the duties have fallen to me. I make the turkey, the stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy, and rolls. Others bring sides and things like chips and drinks. This year, my brother and his wife came into town early and they stayed over. Thanksgiving, mid-morning, my sister-in-law wanders into the kitchen while I'm making stuffing. She sees my pile of breadcrumbs and celery and onion and sausage in a bowl, and me sauteing mushrooms. She says, "What are those for?" I told her they were for the stuffing. She put her hands on her hips and said, freaking out, "You can't put mushrooms in the stuffing. I'm allergic." I was stupefied. I said, "When did this happen?" And she looked at me like I was an idiot, so I said, "When did you discover that you're allergic to mushrooms?" She scoffed and said, "I've always been allergic." Now, the thing is, when I make my stuffing, I like things to be well incorporated, and I always chop the mushrooms small after I saute them, so they're not actually apparent in the mix as mushrooms among the other ingredients. I burst out in a laugh and said, "Well, that's interesting, because you weren't allergic last year, and you weren't allergic the year before." She asked me what I meant, and I told her that I'd been making the stuffing like this every year that she's eaten it. And furthermore, she's raved over it, and had zero allergic reaction. So maybe she's not allergic. Maybe she just thinks that she doesn't like mushrooms. She got pissed and went to my brother to tell him, and she told him that she wanted to leave, but he wanted to stay. So she spent the entire rest of the day shooting daggers at me with her eyes. They were supposed to stay through the weekend, but they left Thanksgiving night. I confided in my mum and my sister yesterday, and they kinda chuckled and said that it's not my fault. But my brother texted me this morning that I could have just not used the mushrooms, and that I made his wife feel stupid for no reason. I maintain that I didn't make her feel anything. Am I the a-hole? The top comment says, "Not the a-hole, you pointed out that you've used the same recipe. If she felt stupid, that was entirely herself making herself feel stupid. You said nothing whatsoever to make her feel that way." Yeah, seems like a not the a-hole consensus in the comments. The second top comment says, "Not the a-hole because no one with a food allergy should eat at somebody else's house without disclosing that allergy. I have several food allergies, but only a couple cause anaphylactic reactions. I carry EpiPens and I always disclose my allergies when accepting an invitation, basically saying that I don't want to be a pain, but I can't eat these 5 items, so if that's a problem, let me know." This comment says, "Not the a-hole, she could just not eat the stuffing. And if she really believes that she has an allergy, you ate this last year and the year before, did you have an adverse reaction? Is important medical information, so you were right to tell her. If what she does with that information is feel stupid and throws a fit, that's on her." And OP responded, "She doesn't just eat the stuffing. Traditionally, she goes in for seconds and then for a midnight snack covered with gravy." Okay, story number 5. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiance I will not babysit his daughter while he goes hunting? Although I, 32 female, have my own place, another town a couple of hours away, I moved in with him, 38 male, because he insisted on us to be closer. I felt that he loved me more when I was away. He's just distant and not interested to do anything. When I mention of going home to visit, he'll be nice and loving with me. He'll ask me not to go because he'll miss me. He goes hunting almost every Sunday. Yesterday he was gone for 12 hours, not calling me once to let me know when he'll be back. I sent him a good morning love message, but he said that he would call. 6 hours later, it was getting dark and I sent another message asking if everything was okay and that I'm getting worried. He texted me back that he lost the dogs and he's searching for them. He got home pretty late and not even "I'm sorry I got you worried" from him. I was pretty upset, but I didn't say a word. This weekend, his daughter's coming over. She gets to be with him every other weekend. I made another post regarding this. She doesn't know my real name. He hasn't told her that we're together, and I sleep on the couch and she sleeps in our bed when she's here. She's 8. She was very protective of her dad in the beginning, making sure that he doesn't touch me, doesn't look at me, etc. 9 months later and he still hasn't told her about us, taking it slowly according to him. But she has accepted me and wants to spend more and more time with me, and I think it bothers him a little. It bothers him that she's getting closer with me and not with him. I asked him this morning if he has any plans for the weekend besides hunting, and he said no. I told him that I'm going to be home so he can spend time alone with his kids. He got very upset, saying, "Is this how you'll behave when we get married? Wanna leave whenever you want? All my family and friends are there. I literally don't have anyone here except him." Then I said, "To be honest, I don't want to sleep on your couch anymore. I don't want to entertain your daughter anymore while you're out, and she doesn't even know my real name." He started making excuses and getting loud and left the house. Oh, this one's sad. I've been under a lot of stress lately. I work from home and I have a lot of work during the day. On top of that, I do all the housework, I cook, I clean, I do the laundry, I take care of his son who lives with us. I spend my money on all the grocery shopping and everything we need for the house. He uses my car to run errands. In brackets, he has a car. Not once did my fiance say thank you. Not once did he ask if I need anything, and it bothers me. Oh, OP, you need to get out of there. He once said that I was going to buy you flowers, but I realized you have nothing to put them in. I almost broke down in tears. I feel so unappreciated, so undervalued, exhausted of trying. I do make a lot more than him, but the fact that he doesn't even offer anything, or at least ask about my day, makes me feel like crap. Yeah, run for the hills, OP. P.S. When we started dating, he was very loving and caring and romantic, always ready to hear me out. He would say I'm not like the other girls and he had so many, lol. He begged me to be with him to move in. Then he slowly started being distant, so much that when I try to talk to him, he'll just stare at me and roll his eyes and then turn the other way. Sometimes he'll say, "You give me negative vibes," and will make me feel bad, so I stopped asking, stopped initiating talks. Then there are times when he'll be super nice and funny and loving. I'm so confused. Oh, this is bad. Many ask me why I'm with him. In my culture, it's bad for a woman to go from one man to another. I had a marriage before this and it took me a long time to be with someone else. He's the second. He uses this to make me feel guilty, that I'll embarrass my family name. Oh, come on. He sometimes tells me that he's not even sure if he wants to marry because he doesn't know for sure how many men I've been with. Oh, the audacity. I do live alone and it's very hard for him to believe I didn't sleep with anybody after my ex-husband. I get tired of justifying this and the times that he's been so good to me in the beginning. I feel like it can go back to that. And the times that he's randomly nice, it keeps me going. Oh, get out of there, OP. The top comment says, "I think it's crazy that you accepted this dude's proposal. What exactly are you getting out of this relationship? When I mention of going home to visit, he'll be nice and loving with me. He'll ask me not to go because he'll miss me. This is the nice and loving behavior? Lol. He's guilting you from being away from him. Literally trying to distance you from your support network. Yeah, get out of there, OP. The second top comment says, "It's time to go back home. This isn't working for you. You're isolated. He's isolating you even further by taking your car, financially abusing you by not splitting the bills, and now expecting you to be an unpaid nanny and hunting widow. This is what the rest of your life's going to be if you stay. A guy that only gives you attention to manipulate you into staying and doesn't care about being with his own daughter. Is this someone you can build a life with? It's time to go back to your previous city, not the a-hole. Yeah, get out of there, OP. If you're unhappy, leave. There are so many red flags here." This comment says, "Girl, pack your bags and run. He's using you as a bang maid. Isolates you from your friends and family. Leaves you alone while he does what he wants. and wants you to take care of his kids like the hired help, but God forbid the kid should know your name or even like you. Yeah, you feel underappreciated and undervalued because you are. Get away from that and start working on your self-esteem. Yeah, this one's sad. You need to get out of there, OP. Okay, story number 6. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that she shouldn't have sex after she had a hysterectomy? I, female, have been in a long-term relationship with my now fiancé, female, and will be getting married later this year. Congratulations. We're keeping it small so that it's cheaper and to make it a more intimate event. My sister is extremely Catholic and has been anti-LGBT since before I came out. I've decided not to invite her since she doesn't believe our marriage will be a real marriage. For context, she's married, and although she always wanted kids, she had to get a hysterectomy for medical reasons. One of her religious arguments for being against LGBT and gay marriages is that they can't produce life. She thinks marriage is between a man and a woman who can be joined in sex only when there is no contraception, and their sex act can produce baby. Since she has been so against my future marriage, I asked her if she still has sex with her husband. She was offended and said that it was not my business, but I pointed out that if she can't have a baby due to her hysterectomy, she should not be having sex. Am I the a-hole for pointing out her double standards? No, definitely not. Not the a-hole, OP, and congratulations on your wedding. The top comment says not the a-hole. If she can say such things to you, she can take them. And the response says, technically by her own logic, she shouldn't even be married. I guess she should release her husband back into the wild for mating season. This comment says, not the a-hole. Not only are you not the a-hole, but you're awesome for tossing her nonsense back at her. Yeah, for sure. This comment says, phenomenal response, OP, 10 out of 10, no notes. I like the way you think, not the a-hole. Congratulations to you and your fiancé on the upcoming nuptials. Yeah, and like this comment says too, not the a-hole, the homophobes. 100% not the a-hole, OP. Story number 7. Sick family wants to have Thanksgiving at my house and I said no. So, my nephew was diagnosed with hand, foot and mouth about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. We also found out the other day that my sister and her husband have recently contracted it from their son. I should add they live with my parents, but because they also have HFM, it was decided that Thanksgiving would be moved to my house, but they said they wouldn't come. Well, my mum just called me today to inform me that my sister, her husband and their son will be joining us at my house. I told my mum that I did not want them in my home because they're still contagious at this point. I have 4 children, one of which gets sick really easily, and the last time it was in my house, my 3 older kids were out of school for weeks. They all reacted badly and had blisters as well as severely peeling skin that bled. My mum then said that they'll be gloved up and sitting at a table separate from everybody else. However, their son will have free roam of my home. He's under 2 and therefore still gets into stuff and puts things in his mouth. I told them if they were set on coming to my house for Thanksgiving, why couldn't have it at their house? My mum said because then they would have to sanitize everything. I said it was unfair that they weren't willing to sanitize their house to make it to where people could come over, but they wanted to come to my house and infect my household. My mum then started to cry and said that she wouldn't have this conversation with me and hung up. So am I the a-hole for telling my mum that they're being selfish and I don't want them in my house? Edit to add, I wanted to add this since a couple of people have been asking why it's even a question. Why would I allow anybody from that household into my home? They're providing 100% of the Thanksgiving meal. Also, my husband and I are in some legal trouble that my parents are giving us a gift that will help us relieve that situation. However, my family's the type that if I tell my mum no to anything, even if it's the reasonable answer, she will renege on her promises and take the gift back. That's why I'm considering allowing my mum and dad to still come over for Thanksgiving. But I put my foot down with my sister and her family. If I wasn't so reliant on their help, I'd 100% just cancel the entire holiday. We also can't reschedule due to this being 100% on my parents. The only thing I have say in is my home. Update, talk to my dad and sister, they are not coming over. My sister got defensive, but my dad put his foot down on my behalf. He's also going to talk with my mum and calm everything down. Thanksgiving will happen some other day when people aren't contagious. The top comment says, I guarantee you they will not attempt a single good practice at preventing the spread of disease. They're just saying that to get what they want. Tell them to have their own diseased holiday this year, not the a-hole. And OP said they don't have good practices about cleaning in general. I make it a point if my kids are sick that they stay home. whereas they find every excuse to send him to school. My kids had a cold and I sanitized my house top to bottom. Their kid has a cold and they asked me to watch him. They don't care about others. Yeah, not the a-hole OP, this is 100% up to you. My mum then started to cry and said that she wouldn't have this conversation with me and hung up. That is so frustrating. Like, hey, sorry that I don't want everybody in the house getting sick. Come on. Yeah, like this comment says, your mum doesn't get to make any rules regarding what goes on in your home. Your word is law. Story number 8. Am I the a-hole for legally dropping my hyphenated last name, which means I don't have my stepfather's last name anymore? My dad died when me, 18 male, and my siblings, 16 female and 15 male, were 5 and 3 and 2. Our mum married a widowed guy with 4 kids a year later. When they got married, they decided to hyphenate all of our names to be dad's last name and stepfather's last name. Not all of us were on board with the idea. Me and 3 of my step-siblings were against it, but the decision wasn't given to us. My siblings were adopted by our stepfather a couple of years later, and I refused to be adopted, but had a say this time. Mum adopted one of my step-siblings while the others wanted nothing to do with it, and always hated Mum for marrying their dad. The hyphenated last name was always a source of tension between me and Mum, and me and my stepfather. In social settings, I always drop my stepfather's name, and on informal things, I do OPDLN, dad's last name. It hurt my stepfather's feelings, which angered my mum. My stepfather told me often enough that it really hurt his feelings to be rejected by me. He said that he loved all of us as his kids, and he didn't see why I couldn't respect his part in my name when he respected my dad's part in it. I told him that I never wanted to change my name to begin with, and it was forced on me when I already knew what my name was. My mum never liked me bringing that up. She said that kids don't get a say in adult decisions, and kids don't know what's best for them. Wow. She told me that I had a second dad who loved me, and siblings and I had rejected him enough. At times, she admitted that the hate that she got from 3 of his kids made her more angry at me for being difficult too, even though I never hated my stepfather. But she saw it as disrespectful and intentional cruelty that I dropped his name whenever it was possible, and refused to embrace having both. One time she sat me down and asked me what my stepfather meant to me. I said that he's her husband and he's an okay guy, but he'll never be my dad, and I don't think he would ever be okay with based on his reaction to the name. I told her I wasn't trying to hurt anybody either, but they didn't care about my feelings when they changed my name in the first place. She told me so I don't love and appreciate him being the dad who stepped into our family and gave us extra stability. I told her I didn't love him for it, but I could respect that my siblings and her loved him, and that he was good to them. And to me in a way, but also not really about putting me first either. She asked me what made me say that, and I said because he did what he wanted regarding my name. They both did. It wasn't about me or how I'd feel, and I said if it had been about me, they would have waited to see if I ever wanted to add his last name. I told her all the times that he told me that I hurt his feelings by not using both names, and that it pushed me away because he expected me to stop doing it for him, but wouldn't accept it when I told him mine. It remained a source of tension, and Mum took it out on me a little bit more. Never with physical abuse or anything, by the way. When 3 of my step-siblings moved out and told her they wished that she would drop dead, and they would on her grave for thinking she would ever be their mum. She was just extra mad at me for not using the name after, and was grumpier with me about that. I told them after I turned 18 I was going to change my last name to drop his name. They didn't believe me until after it was done, and it's been months now. My stepfather said that he never felt as disrespected in his life. Mum said that she was never ashamed of any of her kids, like she's ashamed of me now for doing the childish thing. She asked what sort of man didn't learn to appreciate and love the man who raised him and stood by him when he hurt his feelings over and over again. I'm happy to have my name back the way that I always wanted it, the way that it should have been. I don't feel guilty about it either. I think my mum has an even bigger problem that I don't. She even commented once that it's clear I don't even feel a shred of guilt for giving my stepfather the middle finger. Am I the a-hole for changing my name? Am I the a-hole for not feeling guilty? The top comment says, imagine having 7 kids and spending your entire marriage alienating 4 of them. Yikes. And the response says, exactly. So-called parents failed to understand that their kids were old enough to have their own opinions and feelings. But what's even worse, that they still refuse to admit that they did it wrong. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, no need for guilt. Forcing a step-parent's name on a child is gross. And the one below that says, your mother and stepfather are ridiculous. Your dad died. He didn't run away and become a deadbeat to where your stepdad's stepped up. How dare they force this on you and ultimately try and make you forget about your birth father? What do parents think is going to happen when they bring in somebody new just a year after they're gone? Your mother's acting so childish, and if I were you, I would go low contact because the guilt trips alone are bullshit. You did the right thing by changing your name. Your stepfather did what he was supposed to do, step up and take care of things, but he was supposed to be your friend, not your dad. They totally messed up. Don't waste another minute on this crap. Yeah, how sad. This comment says they made a really stupid thing a silly hill to die on. Yeah, they could have left the name and allowed you to come to appreciate him on your own. But they didn't, and their impatience ruined any chance of you coming there yourself. Yeah, completely ruined it. You can't force somebody to say I love you, and they made embracing the name an alternative to saying it. Kids don't get a say in adult things by their own silly rules. And now you're no longer a kid, you're an adult, and you get a say. Simple as that, not the a-hole. And OP responded, yep, although mum still sees me as a sulking child who can't let go of his feelings, and put the feelings of a grown adult or two first. It makes me want to say parents don't get a say in their adult kids' lives, to see how she likes it, but I know that won't be helpful to this. They're pushing me to reduce contact with how they're acting. Yeah, you can't force stuff like this. You can't force love and respect. What a sad situation. I'm sorry for your loss, OP. Story number 9. Am I the a-hole for banning my husband from Thanksgiving dinner? I, 33 female, and my husband, 42 male, have been together for 10 years, married for almost 4, and have loved together for 8. We usually spend Thanksgiving with my parents who live down the road, and Christmas with his mum, who lives 3 hours away. In the past, he had a very demanding job, worked 50 plus hours a week, and was on call at all times. Meanwhile, I work an office job, set schedules and holidays off. I learned to cook Thanksgiving dinner for us all and always did the shopping. This year, however, my husband quit his demanding job a few months ago that was causing a lot of mental health issues and found a new job in the same field that he loves. It's lower pay and part-time, but he makes up for it financially with his eBay account, which he makes a decent amount of. I've been thinking about Thanksgiving, but hadn't been able to get to the store like I usually do every year, because on top of my job, I'm taking college classes this semester, trying to start on my bachelor's degree. Good on you, OP. Plus, last week I came down sick with a sinus infection, and I was out from Monday night through Sunday. I'm still feeling stuffy and congested, but I've been going to work and wearing a mask. I asked my husband yesterday to please go to the store and get something. Anything for Thanksgiving. I worked until 8, and when I got home, he was playing video games and said that he forgot. But he showed me that he went to the little Italian grocers next door for lunch to get a sub and picked up cranberry sauce. He could have gotten the other items for Thanksgiving right there, but it was too crowded. So after he got his sub, he left. I know how long that queue takes to get your sub. While he was waiting for his number to be called, he could have easily walked around and picked up the other items. So today, he has a half day at work. So I asked him this morning if he could please go to the store once he gets off to get what we need for Thanksgiving. And he snapped at me, saying that this wasn't all his fault, and we both forgot. And he doesn't like how I'm telling him you need to do this and you need to do that. Which I didn't. I asked politely. And now he doesn't even want to do Thanksgiving because of all the pressure that he feels. So I'm going to call my parents and ask them to go to the store and pick up what they can for a small Thanksgiving and spend it with them. He doesn't want to do Thanksgiving? Fine. But my parents are not going to be left in the lurch because of his attitude. So am I the a-hole? No. The top comment says not the a-hole. You're not even banning him, as your title suggests, since he said that he doesn't even want to do Thanksgiving. I have to wonder though, where's the partnership in your marriage? I think it goes without saying that the spouse who has more time and is not still recovering from an illness would be the one to step in and do the grocery shopping for an upcoming holiday. This comment says not the a-hole. If he doesn't want to do Thanksgiving, that's fine. He doesn't have to. But he doesn't get to demand that you also not do Thanksgiving. He doesn't get to make that choice for you. And he also doesn't get to feel entitled to the product of other people's work, the shopping and the food prep, after refusing to contribute. Nez in the basket? Oh, I'm Nez. I immediately jump out. Definitely am going to get a heating pad. Thank you for suggesting it in the comments, by the way. And then hopefully they'll like the basket a little bit more. But yeah, not the a-hole to you, OP. That's definitely the consensus too. Story number 10. Am I the a-hole for connecting to the ear pod after my niece swallowed it to see if it would play in her stomach. Wow, okay. When my 3-year-old niece swallowed my sister's left AirPod, everyone started worrying right away. I was trying to lighten the situation, so I connected the AirPod to my phone and I put my ear on her stomach to check if I could hear it. Surprisingly, I actually did hear a little sound coming from inside her, which made the moment a little bit funny for me. But the people around us didn't really find it amusing. They all looked at me like I wasn't taking things seriously at all. I was only trying to calm the mood, but instead I ended up being the only one laughing, while everybody else was still stressing about the AirPod inside her. The top comment says, "I don't think I can be unbiased with this one. That's hilarious." And OP said, "I know, right? But only my niece and I thought it was hilarious." Well, if you made your niece laugh, I feel like it doesn't matter. The second top comment says, "It was not for laughs, it was for science. Had to be done." Yeah, and this comment, "Peak uncle moment. Well played, sir." And OP responded, "This moment is easily the best time of my life. Seeing her smile made everything worthwhile. Plus, we shall always have this moment. Yeah, that'll always be a funny memory for you two." Yeah, from what I can see here, definitely a not the a-hole consensus. Most people are saying that the niece laughed and thought it was funny, so it doesn't really matter. Most people in the comments are saying that they thought it was super funny. Story number 11. Am I the a-hole for keeping a family cookbook that was previously thrown away? More than 10 years ago, my sister-in-law's mother-in-law passed away. The family cleaned out her house, took what they wanted, then decided to toss the rest. Before it got tossed, my sister-in-law said to see if there was anything I wanted. All I could find was an old cookbook, which was in plain sight on the kitchen table. Fast forward to this year when I posted a photo of my island with cookbooks all over it. I was looking for a certain recipe. My brother-in-law saw the photo and his mother's cookbook and then demanded its return. I refused. The whole family's in an uproar. Half are on my side, half are on his. I've had to block quite a few from being able to contact me as they were getting really rude. Am I the a-hole for not returning it? If I hadn't taken it, it was going to get thrown away. The top comment's not the a-hole, but the rest of the comments do seem to be you the a-hole. I'll read the top comments. The top comment says, "Look and keep what you want." 10 years later. No, not that. Not the a-hole, they're being ridiculous. You could offer to maybe let them copy the book or give them recipes if they want, but you're not obligated to give a book away that they specifically didn't want and let you keep for 10 years. And the second top comment says, "You the a-hole. You didn't do anything wrong by taking the cookbook. That said, when cleaning out a lifetime of a dead loved one's stuff, there are inevitably going to be things that are overlooked. Now that you know it was a treasured possession of somebody that you're not even related to, you would be a huge a-hole if you refused to give their mother's cookbook back after they've asked. Are you really that attached to an unrelated dead woman's recipes that copying the recipes and giving back the original isn't worth salvaging your relationships with extended family and in-laws?" The comment under that one says, "Soft to you the a-hole. When you're grieving, it's easy to overlook things. It's a cookbook from someone who's not related to you. As far as I can understand, it's your spouse's sister's husband's mum. If you're invested in the recipes, make some copies and keep those, and give back the original." Yeah, I feel like if I were OP, that's what I'd do. If I really wanted the recipes, I'd like photocopy it and then give the original back. The comment under that says, "Take pictures of the recipes you use and then give it back. It's not sentimental to you, so why cause an argument over it?" More than 10 years ago, my sister-in-law's mother-in-law passed away. All I could find that I wanted was an old cookbook, which was in plain sight on the kitchen table. Now my brother-in-law saw the photo of his mother's cookbook and demanded its return. I refused. Yeah, I'd definitely be giving it back if I were OP. And also, who said that OP could take stuff? Sister-in-law said to see if there was anything I wanted. Most of the comments are saying that stuff always does get overlooked in situations like this, and that if OP does want the recipes, then to take photos of them, but give the original back. It was your sister-in-law's mother-in-law. Yeah, no, I do feel like OP should give it back. It's OP's sister-in-law's mother-in-law's book. Like the top comment says, "Not the a-hole, they're being ridiculous. You could offer to maybe let them copy the book or give them the recipes if they want, but you're not obligated to give a book away that they specifically didn't want and let you keep for 10 years. Yeah, like you're not obligated to give it back, but that's assuming that all of them saw the book and they were like, "Nah, I don't want it," which probably didn't happen. And it actually means something to these people. It doesn't really mean anything to OP, does it? Like, yeah, you're not obligated to give it back, but it would be very nice if you did. Like, photocopy it and then give the original back. I don't feel like this is the hill to die on. This comment says, you the a-hole, make a copy of the book and give the original one back to the brother-in-law. It clearly has sentimental value if he spotted it right away. People don't exactly have the clearest heads when going through grief, so they probably just forgot to take the book. I bet I missed a bunch of stuff from my grandparents when they passed away because I was beside myself for months. Yeah, pat yourself on the back for saving the book in the first place. But now it's time to give it back to the people that would have wanted to take it in the first place, and who have a very strong emotional connection to it. Do you want this book so badly that you'd accept ruining your relationships with your in-laws over it, just because you're technically right with the book would be in the trash if not for me? That doesn't mean that you're not being an a-hole about this. It's really not that hard to be the decent person here. Yeah, I don't feel like this is the hill to die on. It's a bloody cookbook. Give it back to the people who actually care about it. This comment says, you the a-hole, I'm not entirely convinced that it was in the pile of things to be thrown away. In plain sight on the kitchen table is where a lot of cookbooks live. But even in the case where it was, you'd still be a bit of an a-hole because it's sentimental to them and it's not to you. You can take photos or copies of the recipes you use before you give it back. Yeah, you're not really losing anything by giving it back. You can photocopy the recipes and print them out and make your own copy of the cookbook. You can still use the recipes. Being stubborn about this and not giving it back just because you're technically right or whatever, like this is not worth all the drama. Yeah, once again, the top comment's not the a-hole, but pretty much every other comment's you the a-hole. And the top comment says, not the a-hole, they're being ridiculous. Where are they being ridiculous though? Because they realize now that they actually wanted the cookbook, or because they didn't realize that it was gone? It says in the post, my brother-in-law saw the photo and his mother's cookbook and then demanded its return. I refused and the whole family's in an uproar, half are on my side and half are on his. Like, they're not really being ridiculous. You could offer to maybe let them copy the book or give them recipes if they want, but you're not obligated to give a book away that they specifically didn't want and let you keep for 10 years. It doesn't say anywhere that all of them knew about the book. Like, obviously some of them didn't know that OP had it, and now they want it. You could offer to maybe let them copy the book or give them recipes if they want. Or OP could copy the recipes and they could give the original back to them. And they didn't let OP keep it for 10 years. I bet you they didn't even know about it. Yeah, no, I feel like you should definitely give it back, OP. And copy the recipes for yourself if you want to, but give the original back. It has a lot more sentimental meaning to them than it does to you. This comment says, in my opinion, your sister-in-law had no right to tell you to take anything. I'm guessing that your sister-in-law's mother-in-law is not your mother. And for all you know, people have been looking for that cookbook, and you should give it back. Copy all the recipes you like for sure, but give it back. Would you want your mother's book returned if it was taken by someone else? Soft you the a-hole. This is so confusing to me. Like, why would you refuse to give it back? Like, you can photocopy it and then give it back, and you're not losing anything. But also the family gets to have their sentimental book back. Like, by being stubborn and refusing to give it back, what are you gaining from that? Yeah, like this comment says too, brother-in-law also cared enough about it that he recognized it scrolling past a photo on social media of an island covered in cookbooks 10 years later. OP should take photos or copy the recipes that she wants and then return the book. Yeah, this one actually pisses me off. They probably had no idea that OP even had it. Like, no, you're not technically obligated to give it back, but why wouldn't you give it back? You can still have the recipes and give it back. It feels so unnecessary to be like, no, I refuse to give it back. I'm keeping it. When it's your sister-in-law's mother-in-law's cookbook. Yeah, give it back for sure. This comment says, you the a-hole, I don't understand this drama at all. Yeah, me neither. I assume your sister-in-law is your husband's sister and married the brother-in-law. Give the book back. Even if he was an a-hole in how he asked, which it doesn't say that he was either. It said that he demanded it, but it's very vague. How hard is it to make a copy though? Why is this drama? Yeah, you saved it, you get a pat on the back. Your reward is giving back a family item that your brother-in-law thought was lost, but happily isn't. Also, you get a copy of the book that you saved. Seriously, how hard is this? And the response says, I agree, why is this even drama? Even if OP thinks they're right, I don't for the record. Sometimes it's worth it to be kind instead of being right. And this is definitely one of those times. Yeah, you don't gain anything by keeping it. And like that comment said, I bet the brother-in-law thought that it was lost. Because like one of the other comments said, he immediately recognized it. So it doesn't sound like what the top comment said, where everybody in the family was like, oh no, we don't want that, so you can have it. No, by the sounds of it, they didn't even know that OP had it. And it was overlooked. and they do actually want it. Yeah, refusing to give it back is such a weird hill to die on. Photocopy it and give it back. Okay, we need to read something wholesome. My sons are small and have too many legs, but I love them. Oh my god, they're cats! That is so cute! Little kitty, so beautiful. The chicken's like, I love my babies. They're a little bit different, but I love them. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a great time today. The comment of the day goes to Elizabeth. Vincey, I've adopted a new kitten. He's 9 weeks old and such a curious little potato. I've called him Merlin. Oh, that's so adorable, Merlin. Say hello to Merlin for me. Merlin's a really cute name too. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for the support, everybody. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!